Good morning, and thank you for attending today. To those here in person and those watching live on ESPN Plus, welcome. My name is Kevin Trainer. I'm the Senior Associate Athletics Director at the University of Arkansas. It's my distinct pleasure to be the moderator for today's awards press conference presented by SideQuests. As a brief outline of today's schedule, we'll first hear from NFF President and CEO Steve Hatchell. Then we'll have the announcement of the 2024 MEAC Players of the Year. And finally, we'll meet the members of the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame class, who will be formally inducted tonight during the NFF's 66th Annual Awards Dinner presented by Las Vegas. The NFF would like to thank all of its partners and sponsors for their support, especially the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the presenting sponsor of tonight's Annual Awards Dinner. SideQuest, today's press conference sponsor, is a social media app that creates worldwide communities via activities and events called Quests, rewarding users for meeting new people and trying new things. You can participate at playsidequests.com. Also want to recognize Sinclair Broadcast Group's local affiliate, KSNV News 3, for their efforts in helping this morning. Please be reminded that the media are welcome to use the interview room next door, which is Gogon 2, and it's open today until midnight. It's also available for breakout sessions following today's press conference. Clips and photos from this morning's press conference will be uploaded to the NFF Media Central page on the Foundation's website, footballfoundation.org. Video and photos from tonight's annual awards dinner will also be added. At this time, it's my honor to introduce National Football Foundation President and CEO Steve Hatchell. For the past 4 decades, Steve has been at the forefront of collegiate athletics, holding several prominent positions, including Commissioner of the Big 12 and Executive Director of the Orange Bowl. Since 2005, he has headed the National Football Foundation, expanding its reach and impact while promoting and protecting the game. So at this time, please welcome Steve Hatchell. Steve.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, good morning to all of you people. It's wonderful to have you here. This is fantastic, and so many great friends here makes this a very special morning, so thank you. We appreciate this very, very much. On behalf of our Board of Trustees and our esteemed Chairman, Archie Manning, we're excited to welcome the college football community to the 66th NFF Annual Awards Dinner presented by Las Vegas. A big thanks to SideQuest for sponsoring today's press conference. Their CEO is here, Dean Douglas. And Dean, thank you very much. We really appreciate it very much, and thank you for your support. It really helps this event immensely. I want to start by congratulating the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame class. Official induction is always a special moment for the game of football and for all of us at the National Football Foundation, and we look forward to hearing from all of these wonderful people. Always keep in mind, and we say this over and over again, since 1869, there have been roughly 6.1 million players and coaches in college football. The National Football Foundation started in 1947, started to put people in the College Football Hall of Fame at that point, big class in 51, etc. To get into this College Football Hall of Fame, you have to be really special. You have to be really, really terrific as a player, really, really terrific as a person. And there's only 1,300, roughly, players and coaches in the Hall of Fame. So when you do the math, which I'm not good at, not many get into the Hall of Fame, so they're very special. So you're wonderful to be here today to share this with them. We'd also like to congratulate tonight's other awardees in different areas. They do so many things for the game, including the late Buddy Tevens, Ward Manuel, John Morris, Mike Oresco, John Butler, Tom Cove, Tom McMillan, and the 16 members of the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete class presented by Fidelity Investments. At the end of the day, we like to say, football is doing well. One of those recipients tonight, scholarship recipients for the William V. Campbell Trophy, will be presented with the William V. Campbell Trophy. And this is the 34th annual, and we can turn around and say, you can do it all. You can be a great player, you can be a fantastic student and get your degree. And it's more important in this day and time than ever before. I want to thank Fidelity Investments for their commitment to higher education and longtime supporter of the NFF's Scholar Athlete and the faculty salutes that we do around the country. Marvelous friends. A couple of quick notes. We launched some new initiatives in 2024, including a very significant one to talk about the good in the game. It's called I Played. The I Played campaign, and you'll hear more of it as we go forward, is to tell the values of the game through the guys that have played it. So we have created different platforms by which former players can share their personal experiences. When we go on out and do our on-campus salutes with the Hall of Famers, for the most part, a lot of times they'll bring their teammates, their former teammates, or the guys that were in a bowl game with them. And they all have great stories. They have stories about what they've done with their lives, what football meant to them. We are creating that platform by which we're going to be able to tell those stories and do it in all 50 states because it's significant. We're also working on the Good to the Game, a direct-to-consumer content network. You see our PSAs all the time on the NFL Network, Sinclair Broadcasting, all over the country that talk about the good in the game, where to find a team to play on. What do you do about equipment? Where do you find the best parts of the game? We also have a podcast started this year, and it's hosted by LeVar Arrington, Hall of Famer from Penn State. Just does a marvelous job on his radio show and with our podcast talking about the good in the game. We've also like to announce that we're going to be back here in Las Vegas for the next 2 years. It's a wonderful place to be, and we appreciate so much of what Las Vegas offers for us. Las Vegas Conventioners and Visitors Authority is back for 2 more years as a title sponsor, and their president and CEO, Steve Hill, has been marvelous to deal with, and the members of his leadership team have made all the difference for the National Football Foundation. We'd also like to thank all of the local business and community leaders in the city, including Beasley Media Group and their Vice President, Tom Hum, MGM Vice President of Global Sales, Daniel Rush, Attorney George Kuntz, a 1969 NFF National Scholar Athlete from Notre Dame. We're also grateful to everyone at the Bellagio Hotel, including President and CEO Ann Hoff, for all of their hard work and assistance and the great leadership that they provide. We'd like to thank all of the media that are here in attendance and all the things that you do to help us tell the story about the good in the game. We have 52 members of our Board of Trustees from all walks of life, very powerful people who care about the game, and that's why they serve on the Football Foundation. So whenever we put out those stories, we appreciate everything that happens media-wise to tell those stories. Tonight we'll be on ESPN Plus, and be able to tell that story and all of the fun things that happened tonight. Before I turn things back over to Kevin, I want to mention that we are very, very proud to partner with the MEAC Conference. And they showcase their players of the year, offensive and defensive players of the year. Commissioner Stills is here. We look forward to the announcement, and thanks for being here. And it's wonderful to have that tie-in with the MEAC. They do wonderful things. And their former commissioner, Dennis Thomas, got us involved, and Commissioner Stills is helping us so much. And we appreciate that communication and that ability to do wonderful things with them. So with that, I'll conclude. I'll turn it back to you, Kevin. Thank you for being here and joining us today as we get to talk about the good in the game. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Steve, and let me add our thanks to Steve and his outstanding NFF staff. They always put on a wonderful celebration. A lot of hard work goes into this week, and we appreciate them very much. One of the highlights of the celebration is, again, the announcement of the MEAC Players of the Year, so I'll invite my friends from the MEAC to go ahead and come to the stage, and we'll continue with the program. In 2016, College Football Hall of Famer and current NFF board member and then MEAC Commissioner Dr. Dennis Thomas forged a relationship with the National Football Foundation to announce the MEAC Players of the Year at the annual awards dinner. In 2022, Sonia Stills became the first female commissioner in the conference history, continuing this tradition and strengthening the MEAC-NFF partnership. Among her many achievements was with Ms. Stills as commissioner. So to announce the 2024 Mideastern Athletic Conference Players of the Year, please welcome Commissioner Sonia Stills. Sonia?
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. I am Commissioner Sonia Stills, and it is my honor to bring greetings from the Mideastern Athletic Conference and our Council of Chief Executive Officers of our elite, outstanding academic institutions, Elite 8, I might say, and the entire MEAC Nation. First, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the National Football Foundation, its President and Chief Executive Officer, Steve Hatchell, Chief Operating Officer, Matthew Sine, and the College Football Hall of Fame for their continued partnership with the MEAC. For the 8th year, they have provided the prestigious platform to recognize the incredible talents of our student athletes. And this is a tremendous way for them to showcase HBCU student athletes. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge some of our distinguished supporters in attendance today. From South Carolina State University, Director of Athletics, Dr. Nathan Cochran, and head football coach, Chennis Berry. From Morgan State University, Vice President and Director of Athletics, Dina Freeman-Patton, and head coach, Damon Wilson. I also want to recognize in the room our former commissioner, Dr. Dennis Thomas. Also, let's extend a warm welcome to all the family and friends of today's honorees and other MEAC representatives who have joined us this morning. You have to say that for your girlfriend. Yeah. Okay, there you go. All right. Today is a monumentous occasion in MEAC history. Since its founding in 1970, the MEAC has proudly seen 12 former football players inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is an honor to celebrate the outstanding achievements of our student athletes as we add to the rich legacy. Before we begin with the offensive and defensive presentations, I want to also acknowledge Howard University's Terrence Holland, who was named as a finalist for the William B. Campbell Trophy and will be honored tonight. Now it's time. The MEAC Offensive Player of the Year is Eric Phoenix, quarterback from South Carolina State University. Eric is a graduate student from Savannah, Georgia, who has made an incredible impact in just his first season with the Bulldogs. He led the conference with 2,460 passing yards and 20 touchdowns, completing 170 of 261 passes across 10 games for an impressive 65% completion rate. Eric was named MEAC Offensive Player of the Week 3 times this season. It was instrumental in helping South Carolina State secure their 19th conference title. Nationally, Eric ranked 6th in FCS passing efficiency and 7th in passing yards per completion, while also ranking among the top 25 in total offense, playing yards per game, total passing yards, and touchdowns. Eric was also honored as the inaugural HBCU Plus National Player of the Year by Stats Perform and was a finalist for the prestigious Walter Payton Award. Please join me in congratulating the 2024 MEAC Offensive Player of the Year, Mr. Eric Phoenix of South Carolina State University. Ooh, I did not get my workout in. That was heavy. Okay. All right, the MEAC Player of the Year is Elijah Williams, defensive lineman from Morgan State University. Elijah is a senior from Jersey City, New Jersey, who has been a dominant force on the defense this season. He recorded 11 sacks, 32 total tackles, 22 solos, 15 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, 1 pass breakup, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble for recovery. Elijah's standout performances include a season-high 8 tackles against Townsend and 7 tackles each against Stony Brook and Norfolk State. A first-team All-MEAC selection, Elijah was also a finalist for the Buck Buchanan Award, recognizing the FCS National Defensive Player of the Year. Over his career, Elijah has tallied 218 tackles, 128 solo, and this year became Morgan State's all-time leader with 31 career sacks. Please join me in recognizing the 2024 MEAC Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Elijah Williams of Morgan State University. This marks the 8th consecutive year that the MEAC has announced its Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year in partnership with the National Football Foundation. We are immensely grateful for the opportunity to spotlight the remarkable talents of our student athletes and the dedicated coaches, staff, administrators who support them. Their commitment to sportsmanship, competitiveness, and leadership inspires us today. On behalf of the MEAC, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to our Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year, Eric Phoenix and Elijah Williams. Gentlemen, you represent the best of the MEAC and HBCU, and we are proud to celebrate your achievements today. So thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Commissioner Stills. Eric and Elijah, congratulations. Before we let you go, we want to hear from you, so we'll start with Eric. Eric, if you could put into words, what does it mean to be named the MEAC Offensive Player of the Year?
First and foremost, I want to thank God. Without him, none of this is possible. You know, he's a true testament of staying down and staying real, and one day you can end up here. And I truly believe that. I want to thank my family who's sitting in the front row. They always support me and help me to chase my dreams and goals. I like to thank my coaches, Coach Barry. It's been a real one since the start. My teammates, oh my gosh, they've been amazing all year. My receivers, my O-line, tight ends, running backs, the defense helped me get the ball back. The coaching staff as well, Coach Williams, my quarterback coach, he does a great job of helping me prepare. The other coaches, the receiver coaches, the defense coaches, all of them. I'm just grateful for everybody that helped me to get here. So to answer your question, I'm just blessed. And I'm just blessed, and I'm very grateful for this award, and thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Elijah, you know, such a story-rich conference, a lot of outstanding players. When you think about sitting on this stage as a MEAC Defensive Player of the Year, what comes to your mind and the journey here and getting this honor?
Thankful, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, he's put me in the right position, the good predicaments that I've been in, just so I could come here all today. Even the ups and downs, you know, they all go together and bring me to where I need to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 MEAC Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year. We want to thank you all and congratulate them. Eric, good luck versus Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl. And we're going to take a quick break before continuing with the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame class. But before we do, one final round of applause for Eric and Elijah, your MEAC Players of the Year. If I could ask our Hall of Famers to please take the stage. Again, Hall of Famers, take the stage. We'll begin shortly.
Right down there.
All right, welcome back. Again, good morning to everyone. It's now time to hear from our esteemed 2024 College Football Hall of Fame class. I want to outline that after hearing from each inductee and a couple of questions as a group, there will be an opportunity for some breakout interviews either in the back of this room or in the interview room next door, which is at GoGan 2. So you'll have an opportunity to visit with these gentlemen and after we are done here with the press conference. Of the nearly 6 million people that have played college football since the first game in 1869, only 1,093 players and 233 coaches have been inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, or less than 0.02% of the players and coaches in college football. Those numbers include the 2024 class, which will be officially inducted tonight during the 66th NFF Annual Awards Dinner presented by Las Vegas. Before we hear from the 2024 Hall of Fame class, we'd like to give a quick thanks to all the sports communication directors around the country and college sports communicators who play such a critical role in today's events. Your efforts are truly appreciated. And so now it's time to meet the 2024 Hall of Fame class. I'll introduce them and then we'll have a few questions. Up first, a wide receiver at Oklahoma State from 2009 to 2011, Justin Blackmon. Justin was a two-time unanimous first-team All-American and one of only two players in history to twice win the Biletnikoff Award. Justin, you were unstoppable, setting an NCAA record with 14 straight games with 100 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. What was your secret to outmaneuvering your opponents for all those stats and all that success?
Just went out there and listened, did what my coach told me to do.
Justin, before your arrival in Stillwater, the Pokes had not had a double-digit win season in 22 years. You helped OSU get to a school record 11 wins in 2010, only to best it with 12 wins in 2011. What does it mean to be part of that legacy and further building the legacy of Oklahoma State football?
I mean, it means a lot. We just had a good group, good teammates. It was a lot of fun going out there, just doing what we do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Blackmon. Our next inductee is a two-time first-team All-American. It is a halfback at UCLA. The late Paul Cameron did it all at UCLA, a two-way player from 1951 to 53. Cameron rushed, passed, defended, and even punted, finishing third in the Heisman voting in 1953 and sixth in 1952. Paul Cameron passed away in 2023 at the age of 91, but help me welcome, representing Paul Cameron, is Scott Cameron. Scott. Scott, what is your fondest UCLA football memory when watching Paul Cameron?
My goodness. First of all, can I just say, because it's unusual for me to be up here with all of you, I am so honored. Thank you. Thank you. My dad had an amazing Rose Bowl, and everybody here that could pass the football, my dad, I believe, had 2 touchdowns passing, 1 running, and 2 interceptions because he played both ways. So I think that not many of y'all in the modern game have got that. Thank you all so much. I don't know what to say. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here in honor of your father. Our next inductee from 1996 to 98, Kentucky quarterback Tim Couch helped bring the air raid offense to the SEC, rewriting the NCAA record books and claiming consensus All-America honors. Hall of Famer Tim Couch. Tim, you had the opportunity to play under Hal Mumme and Mike Leach at the time when the spread offense was still a novel concept. Did you have any doubts that their system would work, and what was it like to see it work so effectively for you and for your teams?
Yeah, you know, my freshman year at Kentucky, I was actually running the option. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here today if I would have stayed in that offense, I can tell you that. But, you know, fortunately for me, my sophomore year, Hal Mumme and Mike Leach came in and they put the air raid offense in, and it was a system that I was very used to. It's very similar to what I was doing in high school, so I immediately felt very comfortable in that system, and we took off. But certainly there were doubts. You know, a lot of people said, you know, back at that time you couldn't run that type of system in the SEC against the defenses we were playing, and I mean, fortunately we were able to go out and prove them wrong, and we had a great run there with those guys those couple years.
Tim, you were a Heisman finalist and the SEC Player of the Year. You also led the program to its first win over Alabama in 75 years. As a school that's so widely known for basketball success, how did it feel to elevate football at the University of Kentucky?
You know, it was amazing. You know, our fan base there at Kentucky is phenomenal. Obviously, everyone knows about our basketball program and how well they're supported with our fan base, but our football program is very supported as well, especially when at that time, you know, when I first got to Kentucky, things weren't going very well, and, you know, the program was kind of down. Then we got things turned around. They had to put an expansion on the stadium. They built new suites and, you know, completely redid it. So the demand for our tickets were through the roof, and it was an awesome time for us players to be there and be a part of that experience.
Hall of Famer Tim Couch, everyone. Our next inductee is a first-team All-American and the first Florida State player to rush for more than 1,000 yards in 3 consecutive seasons. Running back Warrick Dunn helped the Seminoles notch a 43-5-1 record in a national title from 1993 to 1996. Hall of Fame inductee Warrick Dunn. Warrick, entering college, everyone saw you on the defensive side of the ball as a defensive back rather than a running back. How did you convince Coach Bowden to give you an opportunity in the backfield?
Well, like you said, every school recruited me to play defensive back, and I just was pleading with Coach Bowden that, hey, I would love to come to Florida State if you give me opportunity to play running back. And he just said, deal. If it doesn't work out, you have to move to defensive back. And I said, hey, I'll do it. And after that first week, no one ever thought about being a defensive back anymore, because I bust long runs on the first team defense and against Brooks and all those guys, and it's just no one thought about it then. So I'm just happy he gave me an opportunity.
Warrick, I don't know what my roommate in college is doing, but your roommate in college was fellow Hall of Famer Charlie Ward. What was it about that experience and what you learned from each other that helped you both succeed on and off the field?
Well, I think my time with Charlie was very vital in my life at that time. I just lost my mom my senior year in high school, and now traveling and being the oldest of the six of my brothers and sisters, six of us, Charlie was there for me. He listened to me, talk about the issues I was having at home, talking about family, and listening to me cry, but also giving me advice and encouraging me, and just someone who was there for me, someone who I still call him Big Brother today. And if I didn't have him and if I didn't have Coach Bowden, I'm just not sure where I would be. They showed me by example their leadership and their commitment to really being there for other individuals, and Charlie was there for me, and I love him dearly.
Florida State Hall of Famer Warrick Dunn, everyone. Our next honoree is Appalachian State quarterback from 2006 to 2009, Armanti Edwards. He earned first-team All-American honors 4 times, while twice winning the Walter Payton Award and leading App State to 2 FCS national titles. Armanti Edwards from Appalachian State. Led App State to one of the biggest upsets in college football history with a victory against Michigan in 2007. In a virtual David versus Goliath situation, how did you motivate your team that day, and how do you explain the significance of that win for the program?
It definitely wasn't me that motivated the team, but I was happy to be a part of it. At that time, I was a underclassman, and we had a lot of guys that were, used to winning. And at that point in time, we're coming off our second consecutive FCS title, and we was on a 14-game winning streak, and we didn't know how to lose at that particular time. So we went in with a lot of massive confidence going into that game, and once we got the first 2 scores, and especially the first one off a huge play by Dexter Jackson, our confidence grew even more. And that game alone definitely put not just our school, but the town of Boone on the map, where not just the East Coast or the Carolinas knew who we were, and at that time it became something that was worldwide.
Monty, you were the first Division I player in history to pass for 10,000 yards and rush for 4,000. What's your perspective on the future of dual threat quarterbacks in the game today?
I wish I played 10 years later. It's been great just to see more guys that can run and throw get the opportunity now at the next level. So I'm happy to see where the game is going and continue to evolve.
Hall of Famer Armanti Edwards. As a quarterback, we're going to call an audible. We're going to go down here to the front row. On my far left, our next inductee, a consensus first-team All-American and the recipient of the 1992 Jim Thorpe Award as the nation's top defensive back, Deon Figures, starred at Colorado in the late 80s and early 90s. From the University of Colorado, Deon Figures. Deon, you had a lot of incredible moments during your career at CU. Do any compare to your interception against Notre Dame in 1990 to secure the national title?
Well, leading up to that, I would say we played University of Washington, and we started the season out 1-1-1. So as far as the national championship race, we couldn't lose another game. And actually, I had 2 interceptions that game, and the game clincher at the end of the game, we won 20-14. And I just feel that if we would have lost that game, we would have been out of national championship contention. So that one in itself was very special, and I'll put that above the national championship interception.
Deon, like many of the gentlemen on this stage, you were surrounded by great teammates. Rashaan Salaam, Michael Westbrook, Alfred Williams, Coach Bill McCartney are all in the Hall of Fame. What made those CU teams special during the time you were in Boulder?
Well, I know when I came up there on my recruiting trip, I just had a sense of family, you know, and a lot of guys that had the same motivation on their mind is to do better, you know, be a better person in society and also be successful. And when I went up there, it was just a lot of family camaraderie. And for the most part, that's kind of put me over to the top, saying I was going to the University of Colorado.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colorado Hall of Famer Deon Figures. All right, we'll head back up to the second row. Our next inductee was a 2003 unanimous first-team All-American and the Heisman Trophy runner-up. Larry Fitzgerald won the Biletnikoff Award and was the first sophomore in history to take home Walter Camp Player of the Year honors. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Fitzgerald. Larry, you faced double and even triple coverages every week, yet you were still able to lead the nation in yards per game and set several NCAA records. With that coverage, with that focus, how were you able to be so effective?
You know, it seemed like every day I came to work, you know, my coach, Walt Harris, who's here, you know, had a new innovative way to scheme me up to get open. And I was very thankful to have coaches who, you know, value me and put me in position to have success. And, you know, it was a team effort. All of us on this stage understand that it takes a collective group of men to be able to have this type of a success. And, you know, you got to tip your hat to those folks.
Larry, during your time at Pitt, you forged some special relationships. Can you share a specific story or moment on or off the field where those relationships and that support impacted you and shaped who you are?
Yeah, I can share 2 quickly. You know, first, I lost my mother, similar to Warrick, you know, my freshman year of college during spring ball. And, you know, it was a very, very difficult time for me, but my teammates, they just surrounded me with love. And, you know, there was never a time where I was by myself. And, you know, just it really makes you appreciate the bond that you share with your teammates. And you know, shortly after I lost my mother in spring ball, that summer we lost, you know, Billy Gaines, who was a wide receiver in my class, to a tragic accident. And so that summer really, I think, built a relationship amongst us that, you know, still stands the test of time. And so, you know, I look back at times that had nothing to do with football that really helped me understand the love and appreciation for the brotherhood that we share.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pittsburgh's newest Hall of Famer, Larry Fitzgerald. Our next honoree was a Stanford running back from 2006 to 2009. Toby Gerhart was a unanimous first-team All-American in 2009, claiming the Doak Walker Award and finishing as a Heisman Trophy runner-up. Ladies and gentlemen, Stanford's Toby Gerhart. Toby, Stanford had 7 consecutive losing seasons before the Cardinal went 8-5 in your senior season. How did you know that Stanford was the right fit for you, and what do you attribute to the program's eventual turnaround?
Yeah, so I was actually recruited by Walt Harris as well. So going to Stanford for the first time was the Notre Dame game. They were a game shy of going to a bowl game the year before I got there, and really felt like there was something going in the right direction with the program. When you step on Stanford's campus, it's truly a special place, and the people that you meet across the athletic department to the students on campus, you know, I really felt like it was a place for me to be. in terms of football, it didn't go as we thought. You know, we started 1-11 my first year, and then Coach Harbaugh came in and really changed the mindset of the program. He wanted to bring what he called intellectual brutality. We were going to line up, run the ball at you, be relentless, and really change the mindset. And it was that belief in the program, belief in the team, particularly a team like Stanford that, you know, we had the perception of being nerds, air it out type of offense, and really line up and run it at you. And it changed the mindset, changed the course of the program. And they went on that great 7-8 year run of being top 5 post my last year there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stanford Hall of Famer Toby Gerhart. Our next Hall of Famer played at the University of Arkansas from 1975 to 1978. Defensive tackle Dan Hampton struck fear in opposing offenses, claiming first-team All-American honors in 1978 and leading the Razorbacks to 3 top 10 final national rankings. Arkansas Hall of Fame inductee Dan Hampton. Dan, some may not know that you fell out of a tree when you were 12, and doctors thought you would have problems even walking again. How did you overcome such physical adversity and be sitting on this stage today as both a college football Hall of Famer and an NFL Hall of Famer?
Well, you know, and first of all, you know, it's an honor to be here today. And you know, when I was 12 years old, I had no idea, no conception of ever being in any Hall of Fame. Obviously, you know, after you've been in the wheelchair for about 4 months, you're glad to walk again. But the good Lord obviously has an amazing healing, you know, recovery powers. And it's interesting, I'm looking here at the back of the great Dewey Selmon. And as a kid in Arkansas, Oklahoma football was like a big deal as well. And I remember the Selmon brothers. Those are the reasons why I wanted to get into football. And, you know, obviously it was a setback when I did fall, and you know, I healed up. And the next thing you know, hey, you know, Arkansas was back on the national scene, and we actually got a game against you guys down in the Orange Bowl, Dewey.
I remember. Yeah. I remember.
Dan, you had a chance to play, like many of the gentlemen on the stage, with some legendary coaches, Frank Broyles, Lou Holtz. Distinctly different styles. How did they differ, and what does it mean to you to join them here in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Well, and you mentioned, you know, Lou Holtz, Frank Broyles were the 2 great head coaches, but what about Jimmy Johnson, my coordinator, my first 2 years defensive line coach, and Monty Kiffin, the great Monty Kiffin we lost just this past year, was our defensive coordinator. And you know how wonderful the coaches that we have here today going into the College Hall of Fame. All 4 of those obviously are so well deserving. But the one thing that I loved about the game of football, and that all of these coaches preached, and you ask every one of us, we will tell you, the game of football was based on meritocracy. You work hard, you do the right things, good things will happen, because you get out of it what you put in it. And those coaches are the reason why all of us players up here have a chance to stand here on the shoulders of all the great players that have went before us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arkansas Hall of Famer Dan Hampton. Our next honoree is a 4-time first-team All-Big Ten selection and a unanimous first-team All-American. Offensive guard Steve Hutchinson helped Michigan claim a national title and 3 Big Ten championships from 1997 to 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, University of Michigan, Steve Hutchinson. Steve, how does a high school player from Coral Springs, Florida, find his way to Ann Arbor, and what were the key factors in deciding to become a Wolverine?
Well, unlike today, we didn't have a million channels to watch football, and Michigan always seemed to be on one of the national channels that when I'd flip on the TV on Saturday afternoon, and always kind of was enamored by that winged helmet. You know, sometimes schools just call to you, and you hope you make the right decision. And, you know, after being there for just about 2 years and winning a national championship, I felt I made the right choice. So you never know how you're going to end up where you end up. You just like Dan said, just keep working and good things will happen.
Steve, Michigan had a tremendous run last year, claiming its first national title since your team did it in 1997. I know you had an opportunity to be there. Did it feel like a full circle moment for you watching them win?
Yeah, I wish it hadn't been such a long gap in between, but you can't always control that. But yeah, it was fun to see those guys, the excitement and celebrate it. You know, when you're in the moment, you don't really take a breath to realize what you just done. So for us winning it in '97 is kind of more of a blur. You don't get to enjoy it. So stepping back and being on the other side of it, watching those guys do their thing and win it, it was full circle.
University of Michigan Hall of Famer Steve Hutchinson. Our next Hall of Famer played at the University of Alabama from 1990 to 1993. Cornerback Antonio Langham helped the Tide to a national title, earning unanimous first-team All-America honors and claiming the Jim Thorpe Award as the nation's best defensive back. From the University of Alabama, Antonio Langham. Antonio, I'm sure you've never gotten this question, but your pick in the 1992 SEC title game has been called one of the most consequential plays in college football history, securing the Tide's run to the national title. Tell us, from your perspective, how that moment has stood the test of time and what it has meant for the University of Alabama and for you to be a part of such an epic play in the history of college football.
Well, that play is funny. Your family and your friends, they always tell me that I only made one play at Alabama that people remember. So they give me such a hard time about it. But the significance of that play is special because Commissioner Kramer implemented this conference championship game. Now, if he doesn't do that, we're automatically in the national championship game. And as Coach Stallings put it, we were undefeated and we hadn't won a thing yet. And to be able to have to play a conference championship game, we didn't care for it as players and coaches, but it was put into play, and we played the game on a cold night against a really good 9-3 Florida team. And when I received a call about making the documentary for the play that changed college football, at that moment I didn't understand the magnitude of the play. I just know we needed to get to New Orleans, and if I had a chance to make a play, I was going to do it. But it worked out, and it changed the University of Alabama. That was our first national championship since Coach Bryant passed away. So to be able to do that was good, not only for our university, but the state of Alabama and our fans.
Antonio, you made far more than one play. In fact, 19 interceptions. What was the key? What was the key to getting those interceptions and being the ball hawk that you were?
Easy. You had a defensive front like I had. It's easy. I had two bookends, Eric Kerr, John Copeland and Eric Curry, and some linebackers. And so you have a pass rush like this. Well, man, figures and other defensive backs will tell you life is pretty good for a defensive back, a corner, when you have a good front four. So to all those guys, that also. But I had a really great defensive coordinator and defensive back coach and brother Bill Oliver, who was he was a lot further ahead of the game than people realize, and be able to be coached by him and to get the toolage from him. And I watched a lot of footage of other guys that he coached before me, and some days he used to put me out of the meeting so he could coach the other guys and tell me to go watch these guys. And the opportunity just to see the rich tradition and the great corners that came through the University of Alabama was a big plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alabama cornerback Antonio Langham. Our next Hall of Famer from 2003 to 2006, Notre Dame linebacker Paul Posluszny, twice earned first-team All-America honors while becoming one of only two people to twice win the Bednarik Award as the best defender in the nation. From Notre Dame, Paul Posluszny.
Penn State.
All right. We'll try
but
that again.
we understood what you were saying, though.
It's the portal.
That's right. That's right. Let's try that again. Rewind. After further review, from 2003 to 2006, Penn State linebacker Paul Posluszny, twice earned first-team All-American honors. So, Paul, what does it mean to have your name added to the likes of others from Penn State that are in this Hall of Fame in your career in Happy Valley?
Definitely honored. It's a very humbling experience to think about some of the other guys that, legendary guys that played at Penn State that are part of this group, names that you grew up with idolizing and realizing that now that you get to be closer to that outstanding group of individuals. So it's very, very special.
You were honored in 2006 as an NFF National Scholar Athlete and a Campbell Trophy finalist. What would you say to a high school player who wanted to follow in your footsteps as a top player on the field about the importance of also excelling in the classroom?
It's more important, and especially at this stage in their careers in the game. I guess the importance of academic success, along with the on-field accomplishments, is such an important way to distinguish yourself as a student athlete, to show what you're all about, to show what you're capable of. And I have to say that the Campbell Trophy has provided so many, opportunities, relationships, friendships. It's such a special group in honoring an outstanding gentleman. So it's that student-athlete combination is obviously so critical.
Ladies and gentlemen, Penn State Hall of Fame linebacker Paul Posluszny. Our next inductee plays nose guard at Oklahoma from 1972 to 1975. Dewey Selmon twice earned first-team All-America honors, as well as twice being named an academic All-American. His efforts helped the Sooners tally a remarkable 32-1-1 record with him as a starter, including 2 national titles. Ladies and gentlemen, Oklahoma's Dewey Selmon. Dewey, you helped the Sooners achieve that incredible success we just mentioned, but there was perhaps nothing more special than playing with your brothers. As you join Leroy in the Hall of Fame, what legacy have you and your brothers left at the University of Oklahoma?
Well, I want to say this. First of all, it goes back to my mom and dad on a small farm that they taught us that hard work pays off. And it is so fortunate and blessing for me to be born, with Lucius as my leader, my older brother, that he would go there and set the standard. And I would come, and then Leroy would come after me, who was truly blessed with all the talent to play the sport of football. And sometimes in our lives, we're blessed by moment decisions. That decision was that we all showed up at Oklahoma University at the same time, and we were able to play it, and surrounded by great coaches and players who made it work. They taught us the idea that there is a family affair if you work hard at it. And by doing so, we won some football games. But I want to add something to that. It's not just the fact about winning all your games. I think the greatest thing about football is that you come to love the teams you play against. Some of my best friends are from Nebraska and Texas, and some even from Alabama. So that's what that game taught us. And yes, playing with my brothers, playing with my teammates at Oklahoma University definitely added a new light to my life.
Dewey, OU boasted, we mentioned that nation's best winning percentage, 95% during your career. When you were in the midst of winning that many games, was there more pressure internally or externally? And how did you all learn to manage that pressure to continue to have success?
I am so happy you asked that question, and I'm quite sure all the inductees up here will agree with me. And I want everybody out there to understand there is a great degree of pressure in our lives, into our minds, into our bodies when we're playing at this level of football. And how do you take care of that is you don't do it by yourself. You share the pressure. Your 11 teammates on defense or offense, they pick the ball up for you. And I think if you can do that, then you take the pressure and make it work for you. But I want everybody to understand, and all you guys up here, I know you've all won football games. And even if you're winning, at the end of 4 years, your body is tired. Your mind is tired. You have to take time away from this game because it does drain you, but it also rewards you at the same time also. So I would say yes, if I had a young man who wanted to go out and play a sport of football, I would have them challenge it from the standpoint that you're going to improve your body, your mind, and your spirit, and you're going to leave something for your teammates.
Ladies and gentlemen, the University of Oklahoma's Dewey Selmon. Our next Hall of Famer from 2002 to 2004 played at the University of Utah. Quarterback Alex Smith went 21-1 as a starter, earning first-team All-America honors in 2004. He now becomes the first player from Utah to enter the College Football Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Utah, Alex Smith. Alex, you were the leader of the first team from a non-automatically qualifying BCS conference to play and win a BCS Bowl. What did that Fiesta Bowl win over Pitt mean to you and your teammates in 2004?
Man, I mean, I think, listen, I had one college scholarship offer when I came out of high school, and it was the University of Utah. And my teammates at Utah all had a similar story, right? We were overlooked by so many of the bigger schools, and Utah gave us a chance. And then when the BCS came about with the power conferences, and we were, left out of the club, and I think, when it's the amazing thing about a team, coming together for a common purpose that's bigger than yourself, and the BCS gave us that, to try and break down, and it was certainly something that we talked about openly together, and then to actually achieve it certainly is the greatest thing in team sports. I'll never forget that day, at Rice-Eccles Stadium, that kind of put Utah on the map, Utah football, and certainly nothing greater than success that's earned. And, we'd put so much in as a team, again, collectively, so obviously an amazing and special moment.
Alex, I mentioned a minute ago you'll be the first inductee from Utah. What does it mean to be the first player from that university, from that state, to make the Hall of Fame?
It's overwhelming. Like Paul said, I'm so humbled to be here, to be sitting on this stage. I mean, when I grew up, when it came to football, I loved Saturdays way more than Sundays. That's to say that I loved college football.
Me too.
And to be sitting up here with so many of these greats that I grew up idolizing, and to go to Utah and to think about what I looked like as an 18-year-old when I stepped foot on that campus, and to be here now, on the eve of entering the College Football Hall of Fame, it really speaks to the power of a team, of an amazing team. I'm so grateful for the amazing coaches. I had a plethora of Hall of Fame coaches in college. Obviously, the timing with Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen and Mike Sanford was here, and Kyle Whittingham were all on that staff, and obviously an amazing teammates that, listen, all these guys up here know quarterbacks get way too much credit. And I just happen to be lucky enough to be the quarterback of a truly historic team, and I certainly hope my teammates all know that they're a part of this with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Fame Utah quarterback Alex Smith. Our next inductee played cornerback at Texas A&M from 1988 to 1991. Kevin Smith was a consensus first-team All-American while helping the Aggies lead the nation in total defense and finish with a 10-2 record in 1991. Texas A&M's Kevin Smith. Kevin, you had 20 career interceptions, making you the Aggies' all-time leader. What was your secret? Now you can give it away now. What was your secret for picking off opposing quarterbacks? And out of that, do you have a most memorable play out of all of those plays?
Like Antonio said, we had a blitzing defense. We had a bunch of linebackers, and Quentin Corriott, John Roper, Aaron Wallace. I mean, we blitzed every down. So it made it easy for us in the secondary. But we studied a lot. We watched a lot of film, and we diagnosed the different teams, and we played. The run and shoot was, if you can remember, in the early '90s, the run and shoot came out with the University of Houston. I think TCU tried it, and we were just we had better athletes than them, and we were able to make some plays. But what was your second question? I'm sorry.
What do you have a most memorable play from your career?
No, you know what? When I look back on football, I think about the plays I didn't make. I remember playing Texas Tech and missing an interception. I remember the good plays, but I remember the ones that I dropped. I dropped an interception in the Super Bowl. and I still dream about it. But, you know, I don't know. I guess returning the punt against University of Texas my senior year to seal the game was probably the most memorable play for me.
Kevin, many may not know you share West Orange, Stark, Texas roots with another great Aggie, R.C. Slocum,
Yes, sir.
who recruited you. What does it mean to play for a coach who grew up in your hometown and now to join him here in this College Football Hall of Fame?
It's wonderful. I mean, the great story is Coach Slocum, when he came to recruit me, he got in the house and he told my mom, he asked my mom, he said, hey, I've been in this home before. Who lived here before? And it was a doctor named Ritterseal. And it just so happened the last time he was in that home, he was it was his not homecoming, but it was the prom date. He dated the lady in prom. And so that's how he got me to come to Texas A&M. Part of the reason he got me to come to Texas A&M after that visit.
Hall of Famer Kevin Smith of Texas A&M University. Our next inductee from Ohio State University, played from 1974 to 1977, offensive tackle Chris Ward earned consensus and unanimous All-America honors while helping the Buckeyes to 4 January bowl games and at least a share of 4 Big Ten titles. Ohio State Hall of Famer Chris Ward. Chris, you cleared a path for an offense that produced a 1,000-yard rusher in each of your 4 seasons. One of those rushers was a fellow Hall of Famer, I think a guy we're all familiar with, the only 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, Archie Griffin.
Yeah.
What made those Buckeye offensive lines work so effectively and create space for runners like Archie and others?
We had great coaching. Obviously, we had great athletes there. And when I went there, as I grew up as a kid, going back to Dayton, Ohio, Jim Brown was running through the NFL. The Buckeyes were running through Columbus, and I wanted to go there, and I always wanted to be an offensive tackle. And I had this little story that I would tell. When at 12 years old, we didn't have Pee Wee leagues in the areas where I was at, and I took my permission slip home to my mom to sign it, and I want to give Ernest and Sarah Ward great props. They're dead, they're gone. They were old enough to be my grandparents and adopted me, but she wouldn't sign the permission slip, so I said, I'm going to tell my daddy. Telling my daddy, and I waited late for him to get home, and he got us up the next morning, and he said, Sarah, look at this boy. At 12 years old, you should be worried about the other people's kids and not him. And he signed it, and they fought like cats and dogs, and the rest is history. So I just want to give them the glory, but my life has been a miracle from birth. I was left abandoned in Cleveland, Ohio in December. In 8 days from today, I'll be 69 years old. An elderly couple took a sick baby, and they raised him. My mother couldn't have children, and the rest is history. I was raised with Judeo-Christian background, never allowed to bring home a C. If I brought home a C, she said, all athletics, all your friends, all the social activities that you want to be part of, you will not do. So I was forced to get A's and B's. And so I got to give God the glory for one, picking me to pick them to help me get to where I'm at today. To God be all the glory. I know it sounds cliche. Next question.
I think you answered both of them. So, thank you very much. Ohio State Hall of Famer Chris Ward.
Thank you.
Our next inductee was a running back at Chadron State from 2004 to 2007. Running back Danny Woodhead rushed into the record books, finishing his career as college football's all-time leading rusher. He twice claimed the Harlan Hill Trophy as the most valuable player in Division II, while earning first-team All-America honors 3 times. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Danny Woodhead. Danny, you were overlooked initially at the FBS level because of your size, but when you finished your career with an all-divisions record of nearly 8,000 rushing yards, what did it mean to you to represent Chadron State and prove all the naysayers wrong?
I don't know if it was really necessarily to prove all the naysayers wrong.
I think the fact is, I got my head coach here, Brad Smith. He created an environment at Chadron that, you know, made me want to be a part of it. And I don't really see it as myself going in the hall. I feel like there's like 100 and some other dudes coming in with me. It's my teammates from 04 to 07, my linemen, my receivers, you know, the defense that got us the ball back. None of that's possible. None of the 8,000 or whatever yards is possible without you know, good teammates, good coaches around you. So I'm blessed to represent Chadron, but those cats are coming in with me.
Danny, another representation. You excelled in the classroom. You're one of only 44 people who are both Hall of Famers and NFF National Scholar Athletes. What does it mean to you to be part of that elite group and the connections between the two honors, first the Scholar Athlete and now as a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, really cool deal. I mean, it was cool back then. What was it, 17 years ago? I don't know, something like that. It was definitely a cool experience. I don't think I knew that until I got here, and they're like, oh, yeah, you were one of the few that did that. And so, yeah, cool. My dad was a teacher. I was homeschooled from K through 8, so my mom was a teacher too. And they obviously instilled in me that getting good grades or doing the right thing is important. Otherwise, the punishment was you weren't playing. So had to figure that out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Woodhead from Chadron State, Hall of Famer. All right, we'll now move into our head coaches. Our first head coach was the head coach at Cincinnati from 2004 to 2006, and then at Michigan State from 2007 to 2019. Mark D'Antonio produced a record of 132-74, winning 64.1% of his games. He retired as the winningest coach in Michigan State history, having led the Spartans to 3 Big Ten titles, a Rose Bowl win, and a berth in the 2015 college football playoff. Coach Mark D'Antonio. Coach, prior to your arrival at Michigan State, they'd only had 2 10-win seasons in program history. By year 4, you had led the Spartans to double-digit wins, a feat you accomplished 6 times while you were in East Lansing. How did you turn State into a Big Ten powerhouse, and how does it feel to look in that record book and have the most wins among all Spartan head coaches?
Well, first of all, I think these are program awards, so you don't get there without great people, great players, you know, great people working in your administration and training rooms, strength rooms. There's so many different things that go into making a football program. But and we took the opportunity to dream big, and it was a step-by-step process. And you know, I'm blessed to be here to represent so many different people.
Coach, one of your mottos at Michigan State was to reach higher. What are some of the key tools that you as a head coach and other head coaches can use to inspire the success of their teams?
I think when we talked about reaching higher, there was just always try and play with great effort and try and do a little bit better. And again, going back to what I said earlier, step-by-step process to get to where you want to go. And as we move through our program, you know, first get to a bowl game, then win a championship, then try and go to the college football playoffs. But you know, at every step, you can take that opportunity to do a little bit better, and that's what we did. And again, I go back to what I said. You know, we tried to dream big in everything we were doing and make it special.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Fame coach from Cincinnati and Michigan State, Coach Mark D'Antonio. Our next inductee was the head coach at Westchester from 1984 to 1988 and at Bloomsburg from 1993 to 2012. Danny Hale produced an overall record of 213, 69, and 1, winning an impressive 75.4% of his games. He is the winningest coach in Bloomsburg history and was named the AFCA Division II Coach of the Year in 2000. Coach Danny Hale. Coach, you finished your career as one of the winningest coaches in Division II history, helping Bloomsburg to a national championships appearance in 2000. But perhaps your most memorable game was a comeback victory over UC Davis in the semifinals that season. Can you tell us a little bit more about that improbable win?
That was improbable. Being down 19 in the fourth quarter and then come back and score 29 points, it ain't over till it's over. I'll make it short because I don't know about any of you, but I got to go to the bathroom here. Here, 2 cups of coffee and all that, and Coach Solich and I. Anyway, that was a great moment.
Coach, you played college football at Westchester and got your first head coaching opportunity at that university. Was it hard to leave your alma mater for Bloomsburg, and did you know it was the right decision?
You know, I'm a blessed man, and I followed the Lord's lead, and there was a reason that I left Westchester on a winning note and haven't done really well there, but walked away from it, and there's a woman right down there taking my picture right now. My wife will be 56 years married here on March 1st, and made that move. She didn't realize I was going to resign. Then we became entrepreneurs at bought a motel in Hershey, PA, and coached high school football for 4 years, and with my buddy that I was in the Marine Corps with, went to school with, and enjoyed that, but had an opportunity to go to Bloomsburg, and I went up. But answer to your question, it was a little difficult, but I figured either way, whenever I played Westchester, I was either a proud alumnus or kept my job another week.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Danny Hale. Good news, we're at the 2-minute warning. We've got one more. All right, our final inductees, the head coach at Nebraska from 1998 to 2003 and at Ohio from 2005 to 2020. Frank Solich compiled an overall record of 179 and 101, winning 63.1% of his games. Coach Solich is the winningest coach in Mid-American Conference history and ranked 4th for most victories among active coaches at the time of his retirement in 2021. Hall of Famer Frank Solich. Coach, prior to your arrival in Athens, the Bobcats had enjoyed only 2 winning seasons in the previous 22 years and had not appeared in a bowl since 1968. You led Ohio to 11 bowl games and 12 winning seasons. What was the secret to the success in turning the program around, and how does it feel to become that program's first ever Hall of Fame inductee?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, Coach Hale mentioned that he may need to go to the restroom, and that's why I was late coming up here. So, yeah. But I appreciate the honor of being here. Obviously, a lot of people throughout my career were influential in my, first of all, getting into coaching. I look at Coach Bob Devaney, who I played under at Nebraska. What a great influence he was on me. One of the reasons that I got into coaching, because I saw how he helped me and how he helped the people around him. And then I got a chance to coach under Tom Osborne, and both those guys are in the College Football Hall of Fame. And the same thing, Coach was so influential in really my life, as well as what I am about in the coaching business. So I appreciate what everybody has done that has been part of surrounding me in my career. I've been around a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches, and I'm very humbled at being put into the College Football Hall of Fame with the coaches that are already in it and the 2 coaches that are up here today with me.
Coach, you led Nebraska to a 58-19 record and appearance in the BCS National Championship at the Rose Bowl in 2002. How special was it to have such success at your alma mater?
How special what?
Was it to have such success at your alma mater?
Okay, yeah. Well, you better have some success because the previous coaches were in tune to winning a ton of games. As I mentioned, both Coach Devaney and Coach Osborne are in the Hall of Fame, but if you look at their winning percentage, it's pretty hard to match that, regardless of whether you're in the Hall of Fame or not. So it was a great honor to get a chance to follow both those guys. A little tough, but it was a great honor to follow both those guys in the coaching business.
Hall of Fame coach Frank Solich. As a reminder, photos and video from today's press conference will be uploaded to the NFF Media Central page on the Foundation's website, footballfoundation.org. That page will also have video and photos from tonight's annual awards dinner. Hall of Famers, just a reminder, please do not forget to be measured for your official Hall of Fame jacket after you finish your one-on-one interviews. Please visit the Raynor 2 just across the hallway, the room, until 1 p.m. today. We'll now allow for breakout interviews with the Hall of Fame class. There's plenty of space in the back of the room as well in the interview room next door, room Gogan 2, for media to conduct any interviews. The interview room will be open until midnight for any working media to use. I would ask those with the media, please refrain, and other guests from asking for autographs and to withhold from talking to the honorees until they are finished with the media. Again, the 2024 College Hall of Fame class will be officially inducted during the 66th NFF Annual Awards Dinner presented by Las Vegas, which begins tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and will be streamed live on ESPN+. Thank you to all of those who attended and were watching today's press conference online. A big thanks to the presenting sponsor, SideQuests. And finally, let's give a big round of applause to our 2024 Hall of Fame class. Group shot, right in front. All right, you guys, if you'll just come up front here and they can stay there, just stay where their seats. Stay where you, oh, sorry, stay where you are. Okay, back row, come stand behind the front row. Do you want the front row seat? Center, okay.